So on the eve of the Delhi verdict, the questions that we pose this evening, it's a do or die battle for Arvind Kejriwal, viewers. There's one thing that I have been saying repeatedly, that this is a referendum election for or against Arvind Kejriwal. Will Congress versus Aam Aadmi Party hurt the India bloc? Why has this become a prestige battle for the BJP? It's been 27 years that the BJP has been out of power, where Delhi is in question. Joining me again, Rajdeep Sardesai, Manisha Priyam, political analyst, Ranjat Sethi, political commentator, Ashutosh, political analyst. Manisha Priyam, the first question, do you reckon at the back of exit polls, at the back of now the data released by the Election Commission in terms of voting percentage, where do you think Delhi stands tomorrow?
Delhi is again at the cusp of a change. And it's very important and significant to understand. I was listening to the prior commentaries by very esteemed editor and friend Rajdeep Sardesai ji. I'd like to make two amendments. One is the story about the middle class. One has to understand that 73% of Delhi lives in unauthorized colonies, right? And the voting percentages that you see in the unauthorized colonies, the men outnumber the women, because in precarious jobs like serving as a driver for us or a house help or being a carpenter, the women may get left behind, or even if their names are on the voter list, they may not be here, they may be in the village for something or the other. So where there is possibly likely a strong hold of the Aam Aadmi Party is in the unauthorized areas, is amongst the underclass, those women. And there is a higher proportion of male than we have women. So although the Aam Aadmi Party may have, I don't know, it's the Pitara day tomorrow, done well, they stand at somewhat a disadvantage. Now, as Rajdeep Sardesai rightly pointed out, it's in the RWAs that you see the male-woman equality, because here you have the Hindu nuclear family, typically, one husband, one wife, children, or mother, father, etc., all staying together. You have a somewhat gender parity, but the numbers here are much smaller. And the mythical middle class is actually, some of it is actually resident of the unauthorized colonies, because they've kind of moved up the ladder. And there are people who don't own land in Delhi, but have now income through jobs that they do, etc. Now, the mythical middle class actually lives in Gurgaon. We don't have the middle class that drives a city like Mumbai. So Delhi is very unusual. Now, with these kind of unusual demographics, this city is definitely on the cusp of a change. The directions of those change are that it is an Aam Aadmi Party in decline. Whether that decline is so much that it can roll over, my feeling from the fieldwork is that the women in the unauthorized colonies, in the underserved areas from the poorer socioeconomic classes, have held on, not just to this scheme or that, because they're not beneficiaries, but they've emerged as a long-term, I would now say, a dedicated believer in the Delhi model or the AAP governance model, etc. But there are definite signs that the men, even amongst the underclass, have broken away to say that it may be the AAP, it may be the BJP. So what happens then? How does the arithmetic add up? What does this kind of slide for the AAP mean? I think those are things that we will see in figures tomorrow. And certainly, the Congress party is nowhere in the picture.
Okay.
That's
so, Manisha Priyam, you concur basically with the exit polls that they've been able to get the trend right, and they've been able to tap into what is now a sentiment on ground, anti-incumbency. Is that what you concur?
So, look, don't use my statements to confirm what the exit polls say. That we can go on and on about it.
Okay.
The elections ended, and with figures taken from 2:00 in the afternoon, they had their data of poll percentage. See, it's one question.
Okay.
If the polling percentage was 45 at 2:30 and 65 at the close of polling hours, how did these pollsters apportion this extra 20% across?
But it's not 65. It's not 65. It's lesser than, it's about a percentage and a half lesser than what it was in 2020. Right now, it's 60.4%.
15% increase. How is it apportioned across political parties? Equally distributed?
Okay.
15% equally distributed
So,
can skew.
right.
So don't use our knowledge or comments to justify what they do. Let the exit posters please speak for themselves.
Okay.
We are not here to justify what they do or don't do. We wish them the very best, and they are very scholarly and
So,
erudite.
all right. So,
I don't
basically, all right.
understand
So,
what they
Manisha
do.
Priyam says there's a change in order where Delhi is in question. Let me bring in our other two panelists there. I have Rajat Sethi, political commentator, and Ashutosh. Rajat Sethi, if, you know, I know Manisha Prem doesn't want me to bring in the exit polls, but if the exit polls predictions are correct, then Rajat Sethi, one has to give it. The BJP has run a spectacular campaign. They've hit exactly where it hurts for the Aam Aadmi Party, and they've been able to consolidate not only just the middle class, but chip away at the lower income groups also. You know, if the Sheesh Mahal, the corruption charges worked for the middle class, then the tax breaks worked for them, and then you've been able to take away a sizable portion of the lower income groups also. It's the perfect political storm that the BJP's brewed.
So again, Preeti ji, with the disclaimer that we are commenting on the exit polls.
Yes.
Because that's the only data that we have, because people are in the habit of cutting clips and then running wild, which they will do anyway tomorrow. But putting that caveat in,
I so agree, Rajat,
let me
on
tell
that.
you.
Yes, go ahead.
So I faced it before, so I'm just putting this disclaimer.
I think we all have.
However,
everyone who has a window open will be in affirmation to what you say. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so assuming, I mean, for your viewers, assuming if these numbers hold to tomorrow, there have been, certain trends that we are observing. First of all, there are two leaders in our country who carry a halo effect. Prime Minister Modi has a halo around him. Even Kejriwal had a sort of a halo effect in New Delhi. But over a period of time, especially over the last 2-3 years, that halo has come down drastically. It has lost its shine, allegations after allegations, and then the response of that allegation. It is not like he's the first leader who has gone to jail. There have been many leaders all around the world, right from Trump being persecuted to Chandrababu Naidu to all kinds of people going to jail, but then benefiting from the huge sentiment that is drawn in their favor. It is only Kejriwal who was not able to keep his image intact. And there was a necessary decimation that happened to his core credibility. A lot of the voters that he was able to attract beyond typical political lines, beyond ideological lines, it was because of him and his promise. That being shattered chips away a good chunk of BJP voters that he was able to get. That is evident. And therefore, in my opinion, if he is ousted from power, it would be because of Delhi voters' negative vote against Kejriwal. They did not even look at what BJP has to offer. There is no face. Throughout the election, Kejriwal kept saying, Kejriwal against whom? All his advertisements were that big question mark. But Delhi people seem to not care about that at all. They are like, we need to get rid of this negative politics. We at least want to have somebody who can deal with the center, have the ability to build bridges with the central government and try and do something. Because we as citizens of Delhi, we don't care about what politics goes on between the two parties. What we genuinely care about is our work should be done, our air should be clean, our waters should be clean, there should be no water tanker. And I believe, last comment, the picture of that water tanker and all the people clinging on to that water tanker, if you remember that picture, that was from New Delhi constituency, the home constituency of Kejriwal. That was symptomatic of everything wrong with Kejriwal model. It was bound to sort of coalesce together. And unfortunately for him, it is all coming together right on the eve of this election. So
but that is if these numbers hold true. That is if these numbers,
even if he wins, so even if he wins, Preeti ji, let me tell this, even if he wins, he should go back to the drawing board. He was here as a different politician.
Either way, I think Arvind Kejriwal will go back to the drawing board. But let me flip this around, Ashutosh. If there is an outside chance, and we're only saying it's an outside chance, keeping in mind the poll numbers. If there is an outside chance that Arvind Kejriwal actually wins, then the same question that I've asked Rajat becomes the question for the Aam Aadmi Party. They have preempted everything. They've ran a spectacular campaign, and he's actually won with his back towards the wall.
See, Preeti, I'm very, very tempted to say this. Never trust pollsters. In the recent past, pollsters have gone wrong. They had given haywire numbers like 400 to the BJP and their allies in 2024. All of them wanted the Congress party to win Haryana. All of them wanted a very close photo finish in Maharashtra. And look what happened in all three elections. So I'm not. And second point is, who are these pollsters? I trust only 3 or 4: Sea Water, CSDS, and Axis My India. Rest, I do not even know.
But
What is their
all the three that
methodology?
you've quoted, Ashutosh, have given a BJP not just a clear edge, they're giving Delhi to BJP.
That doesn't mean all 3 were not wrong in 2024 parliament election, or Haryana or Maharashtra. I'm only saying is, at least all 3 have an institutional memory, has some credibility, has some sample size, have some methodology, and had done some good work in the past. Who are the rest? I do not know them. So on the basis of these exit polls, I'm not going to predict anything. My assessment is, Aam Aadmi Party has definitely lost its charisma. And not Aam Aadmi Party, but it is Arvind Kejriwal. So when last time in 2019, Aam Aadmi Party got 18% votes in parliament election, within 6 months it jumps 36% and goes to 54. Why this 36% vote? Because of the Arvind Kejriwal. Arvind Kejriwal in the last 5 years has declined. His charisma is on decline. Now the issue is, why Aam Aadmi Party forms a government in Punjab from nowhere with 92 seats? Because there was certain moral capital at his disposal. When you lose those moral capital, that's the only USP of Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay.
When you lose that, that means you are behaving like any other political party. It becomes easier for the voters to choose between the BJP, Aam Aadmi Party, and the Congress. So this time, Aam Aadmi Party is not indulging into the moral politics, but indulging into the transactional politics. When you are doing transactional politics, then voter has the right to decide. And I think still I believe that Aam Aadmi Party can escape through. BJP, I'm sorry, has not run a good campaign. 3 days back, it wasn't a good campaign at all.
It all depends who wins, Ashutosh. If BJP wins and wins big tomorrow, then the BJP, whether anyone admits it or not, has run a spectacular campaign. And if the Aam Aadmi Party scrapes through, then
Preeti, 10 seconds. Even if Aam Aadmi Party loses, I'm still saying BJP did not run a good campaign.
All right. But you think Aam Aadmi Party has the edge, despite of everything that, you don't want me to quote the data, so leave alone that. But I want to bring in Rajdeep Sardesai, back into this conversation. Rajdeep, one thing, Ashutosh, and I think we all do agree, that especially where the middle class is concerned, Arvind Kejriwal, whether he likes it or not, has been discredited. There's a grave amount of disaffection that the middle class that voted him in, the Aam Aadmi today, has that kind of disaffection for Arvind Kejriwal. But is that enough to completely, feed into this anti-incumbency sentiment that puts him away from power?
It's very interesting, Preeti. I still recall a column I wrote ahead of the 2014 elections when Arvind Kejriwal took on Narendra Modi in Varanasi. And I said both Mr. Modi and Arvind Kejriwal represented change. They were both anti-establishment figures. Both were challenging the establishment in very different ways. There was Mr. Modi, who was challenging in a way the Nehruvian consensus and speaking about the politics of almost a representative of Hindutva nationalism. And you had Arvind Kejriwal, who was also speaking the language of an anti-establishment figure, claiming ki sab neta chor hai. Now, Mr. Modi therefore won 2014 on an anti-establishment plank, and Arvind Kejriwal won 2015 on an anti-establishment plank. Now, the anti-establishment plank was based on the belief that Arvind Kejriwal represented a change in politics as usual, just as Mr. Modi did. Now, I think over this decade, while Mr. Modi's brand may not be as strong as it was 10 years ago, Arvind Kejriwal clearly in the last few years has lost some of its sheen. Brand Kejriwal, representing the politics with a difference, has undoubtedly lost some of its sheen. You can't be someone who's gone to jail over the Delhi liquor scam. You can't be someone who's accused by his critics of building an extravagant house when you at one stage claimed that you didn't even want government houses. You can't be someone who claimed that you were a party with a difference, that you were a volunteer force, and then find yourself becoming just like another party. So I think Arvind Kejriwal, the brand, over this decade, has clearly lost some of its sheen. and therefore this has been a bigger challenge, and the BJP recognized that. And Preeti, I put the change to 2022 when Arvind Kejriwal won Punjab. He decided to go into Gujarat, and the moment he went into Gujarat, the BJP saw red. The Modi-led BJP saw red, and they've made every effort in the last 3 years to almost encircle Arvind Kejriwal. Manish Sisodia arrested, Satyendra Jain arrested, cases against Arvind Kejriwal, a lieutenant governor who simply would not give any space to Arvind Kejriwal to function, bureaucrats who are uncooperative, created a situation where more often than not, Arvind Kejriwal over the last couple of years was firefighting. Instead of taking his model to another level after education and health in his first term, he needed to build on that, wasn't able to do that. You therefore found infrastructure crumbling, garbage collection, sewage. These are the issues, therefore, that seem to have registered with voters. Now, it all therefore boils down to, do the traditional AAP voters, those who switched from Congress to AAP, some BJP voters still have faith in Arvind Kejriwal? That's the question. I think that will be answered tomorrow. Do they still have faith in the politics that brand Kejriwal once represented?
But, like we began the show, that women are not a monolithic vote bank. Even the middle class in Delhi is not a monolithic vote bank. So when we keep harping that the middle class has shifted or is dissatisfied with the AAP governance model, are we talking about the entire middle class? Because there is the lower middle class that possibly is with Arvind Kejriwal. And I want to bring in Manisha Priyam in this, because Manisha Priyam, at one end, there is no denying the fact that the middle class is now a little turned off from what Arvind Kejriwal stood for or stands for in the current context. And that is the higher income groups of the middle class. But turn that around. The lower income groups, Manisha Priyam, don't have the privilege of the upper middle class to gauge Arvind Kejriwal on the metrics of morality. They haven't really looked at whether he has a sheesh mahal or there are corruption charges. They've always been transactional. They have looked at what has been given to them, and some of them still are dyed-in-wool Arvind Kejriwal supporters. And that core vote bank, many would suggest, hasn't quite cracked even in this election. Do you think that would be enough to carry him through?
So you've put a hypothesis to me, Preeti, and I would say that large parts of the hypothesis, generally researchers reject hypothesis. We falsify assertions, but I'd like to confirm a lot of what you say. And it is indeed correct that lower down you go the socioeconomic ladder, you find a lot of, because schools, etc., they have longer gestation periods. They are cyclical, but you don't get the results in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. But good schools means so much more for the lower socioeconomic ladder in Delhi. It's their only chance at social mobility. And the transformation is really immense. Whatever I have to say of the political outcomes on schools, I put my neck out and say that that's led for a solid vote bank buildup. Now, as far as the middle class is concerned, this middle class in Delhi, remember, in Delhi, the only middle class is, by and large, just government servants. Anybody who's working in the IT sector is a professional of any kind has fled to Gurgaon. Now, government servants, by definition, have inclined towards the BJP. Therefore, the Aam Aadmi Party is middling between a development and Hindutva vote. That has now stopped giving them the benefits that it could have. It is now clear that on the Hindutva plank, the BJP leads. The second point is that the Aam Aadmi Party's prevarication on religious issues, communal issues, that has meant that the votes that they could have kept from the Congress to themselves, that's also splintered. So they're saying we are not ideological or transactional, has ceased to make any gains for them. The second more important point is that the, trying to build up a chehre ki rajniti. You will see that both Modi and Kejriwal, chehre ki rajniti, the RSS is saying ki keval ab chehre se nahi chalega. Both, the chehra is not working. Look at the fact that when he was in jail, he doesn't have a second-rung leader. So, by the way, if people like Ashu or Yogendra Yadav or, Prashant Bhushan were speaking out, so have dissonance within the party, but have many more leaders. Now, that completely collapsed. So, on the ground, they have volunteers, but they don't have strong leaders. And I think that's what cost them very, very heavy. And that is where I feel that they've really not been able to keep it. The poor will not stay back with you in the face of fear of the state. So had they had strong leaders on the ground saying, "वो जेल भी गए तो हम आपके साथ हैं," I think that's where they didn't build in the trenches.
All right, Ashutosh wanted to come in on that, but Ashutosh, allow me to bring in Rajat
automatic
Sethi,
chalega.
and I'll come back to you. Because Rajat Sethi, to pull you in on this, now there's a sense that the BJP has, that they've been able to pull away the borrowed voter chunk, that's the floating voter, which votes the BJP and then shifts to the Aam Aadmi Party in Vidhan Sabha. They've been able to pull that back in, along with the fact making sizable chip-aways at the lower income groups. And that's the assumption why they feel they have it in the bag, looking at the back of exit poll numbers. What do you make of it, Rajat Sethi? What's the doubt that could upset that?
I think, see, the only X factor which I'm sort of looking at is the lower voting. What the BJP's core thinking team members are
groups.
No, broadly the voting has been lower than what was anticipated. And that, reduction of 2 to 3% of vote, I mean, they were anticipating 65% of vote. Was it that they were not able to mobilize enough? I sort of feel that, all the previous elections in Delhi, ever since Kejriwal came into the scene, have largely been wave elections. There was sentiment spilling all over in favor of Kejriwal. And this is the reason why you saw over the top voting. And now it is just descending to where the normal is. However, BJP's, the core think tank feels that they have done enough amount of effort. There was a change in strategy. There wasn't, the Prime Minister trying to present himself in several rallies cutting across the national capital. He limited himself to 3 rallies. Even Amit Shah ji limited himself to few rallies. And then they allowed the sheer amount of bench strength to go out and do those drawing room meetings, gully nukkad meetings, and also get into the jhuggi jhopdis also. The RSS, we all know, they started work right from June after the upset that happened after the Lok Sabha election. A lot of people did the rethinking, and they believe that, we need not expose brand Modi for every small election and let the organizational strength sort of take the center stage. And we are seeing that it was done in a much more structured way. And several leaders of the BJP were brought in from UP, from Bihar, from neighboring Haryana, etc. And they started camping. Ministers from UP and Haryana were camping in small mohallas and doing that work. On the other side, look at the flip side. Arvind Kejriwal, stuck in his own constituency. He wasn't able to, travel to important constituencies like Badarpur, Okla, etc. He just didn't go there. He didn't want to be seen in the same frame as Muslims because, it might just have disturbed his overall credentials or equations with the Hindu and didn't allow it to polarize. Also, look at Manish Sisodia. He was not able to move out of his constituencies. What I'm hearing, even in Kalkaji, Atishi was missing. Even in her own constituency, she wasn't covering the ground that was expected. So I feel that...
So basically what you're saying, Rajat, the only thing that could upset the BJP's apple cart could be the voting turnout, right?
Yes.
The voter turnout.
A little bit of worry comes in only as
I want to quickly move on to what it would mean in the larger, sense where the India alliance is in question. But Ashutosh, you wanted to come in for a quick rebuttal to what Manisha Prem was saying. Quickly, sir.
No, not a rebuttal to what Manisha ji has said. I'm just trying to reflect and find the reason. I'm still thinking that Aam Aadmi Party can escape through, and Arvind Kejriwal has a massive loss of credibility and charisma. The biggest problem with Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal is he always used to think out of the box solutions. This time, I was really aghast to see that the first time when he got an ED notice, instead of fighting it out politically, he was trying to find an answer from the courts in the legal battle. He should have understood that this is a political battle when Mr. Narendra Modi has trying to engage him. The first notice, he should have gone to the ED office and said, my life is an open book. Please check and trust. You want to interrogate me? Interrogate me. I'm not going here for another 15 days. I'm sitting over here. Please interrogate me. That would have got him a lot of moral aura. Second point is Supreme Court, when it's given verdict in favor of Aam Aadmi Party and government has changed that. That was the day when Arvind Kejriwal should have resigned and said, I'm not here to be a chief minister. I'm not here to do all kinds of rubbish thing for the power. I'm here to change politics. If I fail, I'm going out from here. And he should have said, I'm going to the public. He did not do that. The message was clear that he is sticking to the power. The third point, when He was arrested. He said, I will run the government from the jail. What rubbish. Nobody could do that. Again, the message was that he is not resigning because he is sticking to the power. The moral aura was going. Last thing, a chief minister who used to say, a leader used to say, 2-room flat and building a castle for himself. That was the death of the dream, which middle class has thought in 2011, 2012, 13.
Okay.
And if today his people are ready to write his obituaries, I'm not surprised. But hold on. This phoenix has risen many times.
And you still think he has the edge. Okay, that was, if Arvind Kejriwal is watching that, Rajdeep, I just want to bring you in very quick. The larger implications of the Delhi verdict, do you think that's the final nail in the India Alliance coffin?
The India Alliance, my friend Preeti, is already over. Only the burial awaits. I mean, it's not irrespective of whether Arvind Kejriwal wins or loses Delhi, it's the end of the India Alliance. The nature of the campaign that has been fought clearly suggests that the Congress now sees Arvind Kejriwal and AAP as a permanent adversary. And therefore, you can only expect them to ratchet up the temperature. In fact, as one India Alliance leader told me, the Congress traditionally has seen every regional party as a rival. Then whether it is the Shiv Sena NCP at one stage, or whether it's the TMC, whether it's the Samajwadi Party, whether it is Arvind Kejriwal, they see them at one level as rivals who are taking away the Congress vote share. Maybe I shouldn't include Shiv Sena and NCP at the moment since they are part of the UPA, but I certainly, or NCP is, I certainly would include Arvind Kejriwal in that category. There are enough Congress persons who believe that it was a big mistake to tie up with Mr. Kejriwal in the Lok Sabha elections. And I think the Congress now and Rahul Gandhi seems to have decided we are going ekla chalo re. We are going to fight this battle over the next 10 years on our own. Now, whether that's wise or whether that's the Congress living in some dreamland that they can recover their lost glory, huge question mark. Because clearly, even now, Arvind Kejriwal remains the principal challenger to the BJP in Delhi. But the Congress party seems to have decided that it no longer wants to be the glue that will hold the India Alliance together, because in state elections, the Congress will oppose these very parties. You will find a year from now, when elections take place in Kerala, Congress will take on the left. In Bengal, they will take on the TMC. In that situation, where is the India Alliance? The India Alliance, Preeti, is over. And I think Arvind Kejriwal will also carry a lot of bitterness, a residue of bitterness, given the way Rahul Gandhi has attacked him. So he's also hit back. So I think the India Alliance experiment is almost over. And it will require something miraculous to happen over the next couple of years. And the general elections are still a very long way away in 2029 for the India Alliance to come again in some new form. So I think that, to my mind, Preeti, is one of the clear fallouts of this Delhi election. True. The India Alliance is over.
Manisha, Prem, do you concur with Rajdeep? Because there are also many questions that were raised. And, I can surely say that the Aam Aadmi Party did try to broker an alliance in Haryana. It cost the Congress. Similarly, turn it around. Should the Congress have tied up with the Aam Aadmi Party when it came down to Delhi? Well, the numbers are now on the board. Possibly, if you put, of course, statistically, one can suggest that it doesn't quite make sense, but put the Congress's lot and the Aam Aadmi Party's lot, they would have definitely fared better, going only on what exit polls say.
So, I think on the India Alliance front, as much as it will die 2/3, as Rajdeep said, remember there's also a big election in Bihar,
yes,
where the might of a combined RJD and the Congress may not be enough to take on a very resurgent BJP and a Nitish Kumar clearly in decline. I can tell you the Congress is a very valuable partner, but can they do the grassroots that they need to do? That's the big question there. And much of the, the shine of their politics is really something that the BJP would have taken away by then, whether it means the Agdon ki Rajniti, the traditional Maithil Brahman. Remember the Jagannath Mishra card that Indira Gandhi relied on, the huge Ellen Mishra murder at the back of which the emergency came in. Now the Maithil Brahman leadership has moved away to the BJP. So the thing is that yes, it'll die, yes, it'll survive, and somehow it'll muddle along is a better answer than pronouncing
It'll be,
a clear death.
like
And
Delhi's become a seat by seat. India alliance is going to be a state
I
by
think
state
that's because
alliance.
the dilemma of the AAP, because the AAP wants to snatch from the Congress and fight the BJP.
But,
So the AAP
Ashutosh and
actually
Rajat
doesn't
Sethi,
fight
last
the
final
BJP.
comments, and, whichever one. Ashutosh, go first. The sheer fact, if the Congress had come together with the Aam Aadmi Party, things could have been different in Haryana and things could have been very different in Delhi as well, whatever the result might be. On mute, sir.
See, Preeti, my eternal boss Rajdeep always puts his neck out. He said, India's story is over. Boss, I beg to differ with the story is not over. What is story is that Rahul Gandhi has tried to create an ideological framework. Within that ideological framework, Congress is getting certain traction from the Muslims and the Dalits. And later, we just wait for, there will be traction from the OBCs also, because they consistently is hammering on that, and consistently he's trying to revive the Mandal 3.0. The fact of the matter is, if the 3.0 is rising, then Akhilesh Yadav, Aam Aadmi Party, all those constituents of India's story will have a problem with that.
Okay.
But the story is that can this fight individually to Narendra Modi and the BJP? No, they can't. They can't do this. So somewhere within 3 months, 5 months, 10 months, whatever, they have no other option than to come together. They have to tolerate Congress, and the Congress has to tolerate Akhilesh Yadav. Otherwise, by the end of this year or the next year, Rahul Gandhi will be in jail, Akhilesh Yadav will be bankrupt, and others, Arvind Kejriwal, I'm very sure, if he loses, very soon he will be in jail again.
All right.
And there will be nobody to fight BJP and
Rajat Sethi, quickly, sir.
So for existential survival, they have to come together. No option.
Okay, Rajat Sethi, you wanted to come in.
I think in India Alliance story was a case of a stillborn. There were just far too many contradictions that it could have never survived. It was like a startup whose all the co-founders have left. It is a bare shell company now. Whatever you want to do with that, you can do. The Delhi voters would certainly feel the heat. If Kejriwal loses, the opposition voice goes down. Remember, Delhi is the microcosm of the entire nation. You have Telugus, Tamils, Biharis, Gujaratis, everybody living in this capital region. Over here, Kejriwal had the benefit of those microphones that Noida and the film city used to provide him. Minus the microphone, opposition voice would further be, removed away from...
Rajat Sethi, I must come in because, I must come in at the cost of self-deprecation. The microphones that Noida and Film City also provides to the BJP, you cannot compare. So let's not, let's not get into that.
I'm just talking about the opposition. When you were in power...
Okay, I got it. I got what you said.
Okay,
Rajdeep wants to say something and I'm going to allow him to get the final word. It's his show and I want to tell his viewers he's back from Monday at 9 p.m. But Rajdeep, go ahead, sir.
Look. We bashed Arvind Kejriwal a lot in this program, and some of the Kejriwal bashing is justified, but let's be honest, it's not easy being an opposition leader in the country. I don't know whether Rajat will agree with this, but the fact is there is no level playing field in Delhi. Over the last couple of years, the manner in which constitutional authorities like the LG's office has been misused, the manner in which bureaucrats have not cooperated with the government, the money power, the EC turning a blind eye, the same EC saying, in the union budget, nothing can be done that will influence the Delhi voters. Next day, BJP puts a full-page ad about the budget provisions, how they will help Delhi. EC says nothing. Please understand, whether it's the police, the security forces, this has not been a level playing field election.
Okay, Rajdeep, now I'm really out of time.
I admit Kejriwal has made a number of mistakes. But let's not say that we are having a democratic level playing field election in Delhi.
Like I said, Rajdeep, I'm terribly out of time. On Monday, Rajdeep takes over the show again. But for now, that's all.
I don't know whether Rajat agrees.
Rajat's not agreeing. But I don't have the time.
I have got every single day, I got 10 phone calls from Aam Aadmi Party sponsored calls. So there is pretty much of a level playing field.
All right, I need to end the show. I appreciate all four of our panelists for joining us. Thank you.